Hi everyone, today is Tuesday, February the 11th, and this is the Moneyball Morning Report for the Benzinga Pro platform. My name is Anne-Marie Band. We do have Jerome Powell speaking in front of Congress today, and of course we have our regular Fed speakers auditioning for their next jobs. So outside of that, not a ton left out there. I do want to look at the daily chart. You know, I'm saying, listen, we are in a buy the dip formation that remains the same, right? We can see that sort of steep move. We're getting ready for some kind of break, folks. This is just how the market works. When it builds these structures, whether they be flags or wedges or whatever, price compression, expansion, compression, expansion. And so here's what we're seeing. We're seeing a lot of inventory being collected here. And so far as it looks, this inventory appears to be holding some sort of upside bias until it doesn't. So this is the volume point of control. It's where all the most prices, the most contracts have been moving around this 6028, 6,028 in the E-mini S&Ps. So that's going to be our go, no-go today. Above it will be long, below it will be short. Now, that doesn't mean literally if it drops below it, you just take a short. What I'm saying is when it comes into this level, it's got to make a decision. And it's the traders have to make a decision. And that's going to be, do I buy it up or do I step out of the way and sell it down? And that's what we have to wait for, right? We know how that looks on our 1 hour charts. It comes in, look, this one, it was a rocket ship straight up, all right? If we take a look all the way down at, say, I don't even know, a 3 minute, I think it's exactly the same thing. Just a rocket ship up, right? Where is that number? Was that it? No, that's this morning. Right, there's the rocket ship up. Just literally one candlestick. So you might go, holy cow, that's kind of crazy. You don't necessarily want to jump in there. Let it build structure that continues to move up. Keltner band up, comes into resistance a few times, backs down, still makes higher lows. You know the structure. If you've been watching me, you know what the structure looks like. 1, I fail to close lower. 2, I bounce into resistance. 3, I pull back and hold a higher low. That's what it looks like. All right. Today, on the 1 hour formation, wow, that looks awful messy, doesn't it? On the 1 hour formation, we've got a bit of a sideways mishmash, right? We've got traders that are slanted downward, but trying to hold a frame at, what do you know, 60, 65, it's going to matter today, right? So if it loses 60, 65, it heads down into our go, no-go underneath that zone, and that's going to be the area that we want to watch for. Notice, if this number here at 6027 comes down and says go, no-go, we could come into that hourly 60-65 area and just bounce right off of it and never see 60-62. So that's going to be the first ledge, right? Go, no go, 60-22, 60-25. But there's also an area at 60-65 that the traders might be very interested in holding. All right, now let's go to the NQ, the E-mini Nasdaq 100. Taking a look at the daily, it's very sideways. It is super choppy here, but the song remains the same. What is that? We have these lower highs, right? And we have these higher lows. So price action is compressing. It's waiting for something. Notice where the volume point of control is down here on the daily. It is very far away, down here at 20,573. I'm thinking we're not going to get there today. That would be a 1,200 point move. That would send us into quite the tailspin. So not thinking that's going to happen. That being said, let's take a peek at what the structure is telling us. It is still by the dip. Can the dips be ugly? You betcha. What's the go, no-go today? My thought is that it's the open of yesterday, and that number is 21,463. That's 300 points away to the downside, right? Way down here, it's also value area low. I like that. So what we're going to stare down is, can the traders not even go that far down? And can they instead hold the closing VWAP of Thursday? Friday, excuse me. Today's only Tuesday. Can it hold that area? And that number is 21,714. If we cannot hold 21,714, the sellers are going to feel themselves, as they say in lingo land, and they're going to try and push us into the VWAP down here at 21,613. Not really sure that's going to happen. I do like 21,650, but we are sitting in a zone where, as long as we hold this very deep ledge that we saw yesterday, we are going to have really nice dips giving us buys. Where am I looking for the buy? You know, I like trying it here at 21,716. I think it's going to be a pretty nice trade, right? I actually have an order waiting there as we speak. Actually, 21,014.50 is the order that I have waiting there. I'm hopeful that it might get to me, but if it doesn't, I'm okay with that too. Okay? But that's what I'm looking for, the dip that collides into price action to the upside. YM. Listen, do we know something terrible's coming? Something's always terrible coming. It's life. We live in a world where terrible things happen every single day. Something terrible is going to happen. What we just have to do is look at the charts here in our lives. It's, you know, we focus on the Lord. But if we're looking at something like the charts, we just go, well, what are the charts telling me? So here's a very interesting formation. See this rounding top? It's doing the same thing here. The YM has got to hold 14,000, or the sellers are going to kick right back in and bring us down to 42,400. This is the only one that looks really a little nerve-wracking to me from a bullish perspective. So if it holds 44,000, friends, did I say 14,000? That would be very bad. 44,000 is the go, no-go line. If it pulls back in there, collapse to tighter time frames, watch for structure. What does structure look like? Fails to close lower, bounces into resistance, pulls back, and holds a higher low. Totally breaks down right here. We've got a much bigger pattern. Do it again. Fails to close lower, bounces into resistance. Look at the shallow fade here before it moves back up. But if you miss this one, the pullback into the higher low above the moving averages gives you the next buy. All right? Simple Simon. I used to know that rhyme. That's kind of a British thing. I don't know that anybody knows that rhyme. Simple Simon, Metapyman. Sorry. So here we are. Here's 44,465. They are really trying to hold this ledge. If they break it, value area low on the 1 hour chart. Man, am I full of randomness this morning. Value area low on the pullback gives us 44,400 thereabouts. And look at the thin volume pocket here. Easily we come into this area and start chopping around if we lose this line. On the hourly formation, you can see that 44,400 might be a good place for you to say, hey, I'm going to try and buy a bottom there, but this looks really bearish to me. I would prefer to either let it collapse into there if you're only looking for longs, or let it bounce up into the point of control like it did yesterday into the close, and then consider the short. Right here at this 44,400, you could also look for structure underneath there that tells you, wow, this is going to fade. Micro Bitcoin. Let's go to the daily. Slosh, right? Absolute slosh. Higher highs, lower lows. Now we've got lower highs, higher lows. What is the key element here? We're dancing around the point of control, right? So it's pretty much a coin toss if you trade in either direction sitting at this point of control. What expands is the risk, right? If you go long, it could move 7,000 points against you. If you go short, it could move 8,000 points against you if you're focusing on the point of control. My thought is focus on the edges. Right now, they're still buying the dips. That's all the way down at 91,000. That's going to be the go. No, oh my gosh, my 21,714 just filled. Wow, that's crazy. All right, let's see how it goes. Okay, that must have been news of some kind. Look at that. Filled right while we were talking. Okay, so here we are. 91,700 is the go, no-go line for micro Bitcoin. Oil, I got to tell you, boil. I don't know if anyone's bought boil with me, but that thing, I bought at 43. It's 67 this morning. It's bananas. All right, here we are with oil. Take a look. Came right up, held that 72 zone. Looks terrific. Price action to the upside. What's the trend? Sellers above, buyers below. The Keltner band tells us that, right? The slope of the Keltner band tells us what's going on. And so it's pushing us up into 74, right? So this is a pretty good bullish reversal, but it's still only going into resistance. What is that number? 74. What's the go, no-go today? $72. Below $72, oil, our CL contract, our crude oil futures contract, it is very likely to try a bottoming formation. If it holds 72 or breaks 72, does not get lower here and then rotates back up, fantastic. But 72 is the go, no-go right now. Upper edges, 74 into 75.86, where I suspect we see another collapse. Go down to the hourly chart. Straight up. Absolutely straight up. Intraday, you might say, hey, I'm going to try this very tight price action event right here. And as it pulls back into my moving average, I'm just going to buy it because my slope is huge. Look at the momentum. Since yesterday morning. No, since Friday morning. Right? Absolutely incredible. That is a very big drive to the upside there. Super interesting from a chart perspective. What's going on with this one? Very bullish. Pullbacks or buy zones there. All right, gold. Gold's been pulling back a little bit. Absolutely. Needed to. Topping formation, as I mentioned, right? We're looking at the upper edges. Wow, this went into the 1618 on the nose. What kind of crazy? That's very interesting. All right, so pullbacks in gold could very well be savage based on this kind of formation. All right, so topping is what we need to see, and that's going to be wicks. Can I fail to close lower? A lot of things are going on from a daily perspective. Intraday, probably still pullbacks or buy zones. Line in the sand for the go, no-go is 28.77. That's our last resistance zone, if you recall, from weeks past. Right? And where we headed now, it just bounced off a value area high at 29.06. What's the slope of trend? Down. What's the slope of momentum? Very negative, but flattening. And we're at a liquidity area, and we've got that value area high being support. So what we want to look for is structure here that says, hey, if I dip around here and I lift, I'm going to have myself a rotation back up into 29.38. Absolutely love it. Watch it to build structure here first. because the bounces are still going to be sell zones because both trend and momentum are very negative. All right, let's look at SPY. A little bit sideways. Man, what a mosh pit. Good grief. Look at this. Oh, if you're not an intraday trader and you're trying to trade breakouts, you're getting crushed. Same thing here. Plus, here's the big plus. We've got price compression. Price compression here. So all of the candlestick formations since February 7th, and of course that's only 2, they're inside of this range. So what's the go, no go? That range. The base of that range is support. As long as we sit above 600, pullbacks into that area are very likely to bounce. We lose 600, we've got ourselves a little bit of a mess. Okay? But sideways action says pullbacks into the base of these candlesticks, going to give us buying pressure. Take it down to the 1 hour chart. We can see, look at this. This is just, it's a mess. Don't even trade that. Let it come down where it's clean and you can see the buyers move out. That's what you want to do. Good heavens, that's hideous. Qs. All right. Also very choppy on that hourly. Let's look at the daily. We've got ourselves a little bit of sideways action, but still buy the dip. Still buy the dip. Value area high, 525. Base of the last spike would be the low of yesterday. I think that is very close to the go, no go, but I would prefer to look at, oh, for goodness sakes. That's so weird. You see that? I would prefer to look for the low of 3 trading days ago, and that's 521.60. So 521.60 is our go, no go line here for the traders, and we will see what happens from there. Okay? All right, everybody. Take care. I'll see you on the streams.